Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Harrison Barron, your social media guru here, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about some things that help determine the cost of a website. A lot I keep getting asked, how much does a website cost, or how much can I get a website made for? And before we go over that, there's a couple different factors that come into play when determining how much a website is going to cost. Every agency has their, let's say, requirements for them to work with a customer. Sometimes these requirements are more expensive or less expensive based on the agency and who they're employing. Typically, more higher-end agencies are going to just charge more money off the bat because they have a whole staff that they need to pay. That staff is also going to be working on your stuff. However, they might be higher paid people or they might be specialties in different areas, which is going to help drive up the price. If you go to a more generalist kind of person, their price might be a little lower, or smaller company, their price might be a little lower because their overhead is a little lower. You're also getting access to less resources. Doesn't mean they're going to do worse of a job, but if there's a video that needs to be edited or made, or photos that need to be taken and edited and put into the website, these are all different things that maybe a larger agency already incorporates into the price of their website, where a smaller company might not have the ability to do that. Or if they do have the ability to do that, they might have to charge a little extra because they need to outsource it to somebody else or find somebody that can take care of those needs. So if it's photography, for example, they might not have an in-house photographer. They might need to go find somebody that can take those photos for that company that will help them build that website. So the number one thing is, what kind of website do you need? Every company has a different kind of website that they have in mind for what they need for their company. Some are just simply to have a website and to show people that they are a real company and they're not doing anything out of the ordinary. They just want to prove that they're a real company. And they think that having a website is part of that whole shtick. It also helps people find out, hey, I'm already dealing with this company. They also do this, this, and this. Well, that could very much so help a company that's looking to maybe not directly grow, but educating or letting people find them through putting it on their email signature or just letting people know who they are, that says, hey, we do this, this, and this. Kind of like Barron Media Group. I advertise social media, but I also do websites. I also do coaching. So now I'm getting people that ask me for not only social media, but when they find and see my website, they'll go for social media. Oh, you also do websites? We should talk about that. We should also talk about doing this. We should also talk about doing this. All of these different factors come into play when you're building a website and determining the cost of a website. Because if you don't need those to be so prominent, you just need to have them there as a placeholder. Having that company just have a website might be pretty cheap. They're probably going to provide you with a lot of their stuff that they have already. But the next purpose could be getting to the top place on Google. That's going to be significantly more expensive. There's a lot of work that goes into getting a company to the number one spot in Google. And it not only is it a lot of work, but it's a monthly, year after year workload on getting and fighting for that top spot, because just because you have it doesn't mean it can't be gone tomorrow. So it's that constant battle of staying to the top spot of Google that Google wants to see, hey, you actually care, you're taking into consideration all of these different things. Let's start to be proactive and start to add things regularly to the website that's going to keep you at that number one spot in Google. The other thing that you have to consider is what really needs to be in the website. So now you're getting found. Is there different technologies? Is it going to be a Wix website? Is it going to be a Squarespace website? Is it going to be a WordPress website? Is it going to be custom coded? What technologies are going into those websites is also going to drastically determine how much it's going to cost. If you have somebody that's really good at Squarespace, their websites are going to be significantly cheaper because they can build it pretty quickly. And a lot of the hard work is already there. They don't need to do too much. Yes, they need to design it and make sure it looks good and all of that kind of stuff, but they're not custom coding it, which takes drastically longer. Same thing with Wix. Kind of the same thing with Squarespace, but Squarespace has a little more flexibility. So having somebody that knows what they're doing in any of those scenarios is really, really important, especially when it comes to determining what the price of the website is going to be, or the type of the website that you're going to have. There's blogs, there's e-commerce stores, there's generalists, there's funneling in websites, so creating a funnel that's going to convert leads into sales. There's all of these different purposes. You have to figure out what kind of website you actually need before you start to go and get quotes from people. If you don't know what you want, they can't build it for you. The next thing is, what kind of technology is going into the website? And I briefly touched on Wix, Squarespace, and everything else inside a website. But if you're doing a WordPress website, as good as that may be, you might need plugins that have to have an additional charge, or there might be different bits of payment processing, security, SSLs, different things that are going to go into your website that are going to help determine, really, at the end of the day, the cost of the website. Because if you want a custom coded website, they have to build everything in so it's going to work good, which is not a bad thing. But the more stuff that you need inside the website, if it's an e-commerce store, security, or anything like that, is going to help drive the cost of the website up. The other thing that you also have to take into consideration is who is providing all the content. What kind of technology are you using to provide the content? Is it already being found, or is another company curating that content, or is it you doing it yourself? These are different factors as far as technology. Is it an RSS feed that's going up there that needs to make sure it's never broken so people are getting updates? These are all different factors as far as what's really going to help figure out what kind of piece of the pie you fit into as far as websites cost. Next is the purpose or the goal of the website. So a lot of companies, yes, we talked about technology and we talked about the type of the website, but what is the goal of it? Is the goal of the website to drive sales? Well, how are you going to drive those sales? What's the methodology between the website and funneling down to drive those sales? Is your goal just getting found and getting more public knowledge about your company? Then SEO might be something you want to focus on. There's also blogging. Is that the purpose of the goal of the website? It's just purely to educate people, and you just want them to find your blog, so hopefully they convert, or are you building sales funnels into there? The other goal or purpose is you could just need that very basic template just to show people that it's a real website. There's all of these different factors that come into play, but your goal, if you say, hey, I want to make money on my website and I want to do this, well, there might be an initial fee of building the website that could be X amount of dollars, but now there could be additional fees on top of that if it's hosting, if it's the domain host, if it's the website host, if there is any other technologies or reoccurring payments that need to be made. On top of that, you also have updates, creating the blogs, curating the content. Who's doing all of that? A big factor in this is who is creating and who is not creating all of this content, because if you, as the person creating the website, is creating the content, well, if you're selling that to a customer, there might need to be a level of expectation saying, hey, we also need to do all these different things. Whereas if the customer is doing it, they already know, or it's not at that point going to be a customer, but if the person that owns the company or somebody in the company is developing it, they're going to be the one responsible for updating and making sure that you're working your way through Google. So knowing exactly what factors really go into your website. So at the end of the day, you would like to know a couple things. One, what is the purpose of the website? Is it to get found? Is it to just educate people? If it's a super basic website, maybe a company's starting price is going to be about $5,000 to bring you on. But if it's a super basic website and you're providing all the information, they might slide that down a little bit. So maybe it's in the $2,500 to $5,000 range. If everything is there and they just have to, let's just say, assemble it and do some back-end work. But if you're saying, hey, we got to go get everything, we got to get the content, and then we got to develop it, you might be here. You want to do additional stuff. You want to have a blog. You want to have e-commerce. Maybe it's halfway down the middle to the upper echelon of things. Maybe you just immediately slide into the more expensive bracket. So determining really what is involved in it can help determine the factors involved. So, for example, maybe a company says, hey, yeah, we appreciate that you're going to give us everything, but still take some time to get everything, the logos, we got to go back and forth with you guys. You know what, we're going to be in the middle to lower end, maybe not just around the middle. Even though you want middle, lower end stuff, their involvement might just say, hey, we need to hit this number for it to make sense for us to bring on a new client. So all of these different factors immediately break into what really a website's going to cost. So when you look at it at the end of the day, you might say, hey, this agency, their starting price is about $5,000, their starting price is about $10,000, their starting price is about $2,000. Well, what's going into the website? And letting that agency know, hey, I really want just a super basic website. Maybe you need a landing page. A landing page could be $1,000 or $2,000, depending on what you need. And just simply for a place for people to go to check it out and maybe subscribe to a newsletter. So these are all different factors. As a super basic concept, landing page down here, all the way up to full-blown, really high-end website with SEO built in. Everything else falls in between for you. So just remember that when you are looking for a price on a website or everything like that, those are some really big questions that you have to ask to figure all that out. I'm Harrison Barron. I'm your media guru. I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of the week.